What is it about crystals that makes them so captivating? Is it their beauty, their color, their unique shapes, the way they're formed in the earth? Or is it something else that gives them that unexplainable quality we can't ignore? And do crystals really have a measurable power? Hey lunatics, it's Lady Luna, and today we're taking a deep dive into one of my favorite things of all time, crystals. Whether or not you've ever owned a crystal or even held one before, that's okay, because this video is for anyone to learn more about the history of crystal uses, the science behind their energy, and ways that you can use them in your everyday life. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lady Luna and I make videos about metaphysics and mystical topics, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you can see more videos like this. The first thing to note when discussing crystals is the safety aspect. Above all else, please never use crystals as a replacement for proper medical care or prescribed treatments or medications. Crystals are not supposed to replace modern medicine. Instead, if crystals are used for healing, they are used to help us heal emotionally and spiritually. They are not supposed to be used to heal or treat serious illnesses, injuries, or other ailments. So please be wise in how you use them. If you would like to use crystals alongside a regular medical treatment as a way to reduce stress and help your mood, that is perfectly fine. So what exactly are crystals, and where do they come from? Let's take a look at the science of crystals and what makes them so powerful.
As the magma moves towards the Earth's surface, it crystallizes to form young, hot, igneous rocks. The heat from these rocks drives groundwater towards the surface. As the water cools, ions precipitate out as mineral crystals, including quartz crystals from silicon and oxygen, feldspar from potassium, aluminum, silicon, and oxygen, galena from lead and sulfur. Many of these crystals have signature shapes. Take this cascade of pointed quartz, or this pile of galena cubes. But what causes them to grow into these shapes again and again? Part of the answer lies in their atoms. Every crystal's atoms are arranged in a highly organized, repeating pattern. This pattern is the defining feature of a crystal and isn't restricted to minerals. Sand, ice, sugar, chocolate, ceramics, metals, DNA, and even some liquids have crystalline structure.
In the year 2000, the Cave of Crystals was discovered by miners excavating a tunnel for a mine in Mexico. The main chamber contained some of the largest natural crystals ever found in any underground cave. The largest one so far measuring, I think, 36 feet in length, 13 feet in diameter, and over 55 tons. So just spectacular. These amazingly huge crystals became so large because of the extremely hot temperatures inside of the subterranean caves. It reaches a steamy 136 degrees Fahrenheit, and this encourages microscopic crystals to form and rapidly grow, much faster than we're used to seeing.
Well-known inventor and engineer Nikola Tesla famously said, "In a crystal we have clear evidence of the existence of a formative life principle, and though we cannot understand the life of a crystal, it is nonetheless a living being." So what did Tesla mean by this? He, much like other well-known inventors in history, believed that all is energy. Everything on this earth has an energy that vibrates at its own frequency. Tesla also said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Believe it or not, crystals are so powerful, they even light up under pressure. Here's how that is possible.
Sometimes, nature can provide you with tools that you never expected. Along rivers and lake shores across the world hides an interesting little secret. You see, recently a fisherman introduced me to one such tool, producing light from river stones. And you can use river stones or landscaping stones, as long as they're translucent. Now, I'm not talking fire-starting flint. No, I'm talking a really cool phenomenon called triboluminescence. And it's not just a cool phenomenon, it's also what's known as cold light. And that's because triboluminescence isn't produced through heat. And only specific types of rocks, such as those that have an internal crystalline structure, will exhibit those behaviors. So let's check out the most common type, quartz. Quartz is built of crystalline silicon dioxide, which is organized in a crystal lattice. These lattices are held together by polar covalent bonds, which are very strong and contain a lot of energy. How do you know you have quartz? Hold it in front of a bright light, and some light should shine through. When you apply pressure and grind the pieces of quartz or rock together, you release energy, creating light. In doing so, you're witnessing triboluminescence.
My favorite fact about quartz is that it's triboluminescent.
Let's break it down.
Yeah, triboluminescent is basically a property that quartz shares with several other materials. If it is physically deformed, either by an impact or by rubbing or by being ripped apart, it'll actually generate light and electricity. That property is actually reversible as well, so if you run electricity through it, it actually causes the crystal itself to deform or oscillate. That's how quartz watches work.
So if I smack those two together, you're gonna have a spark?
Exactly.
We should kill the lights and do this.
Yeah, let's do it. So what's happening is as the crystal is deformed, it actually causes movement which generates electricity.
The notion that crystals have a real measurable power isn't just New Age nonsense. In fact, much of the technology we use today is powered by using crystals. Ever heard of an LCD screen? LCD stands for Liquid Crystal Display. Crystals are also used in digital watches, computer chips, radios, and so much more. The crystal most commonly used in these is clear quartz crystal. Believe it or not, it is possible to measure a crystal's energy. Here is an example of how crystal energy is measured using an experimental life energy field meter.
With this LM4 experimental life energy meter, we're going to be testing crystals. So this here is actually set at 100%, okay, times 100. So it's actually very sensitive, as you can see as I approach just this back one, for example. You know, it goes off the chain, I'm nowhere near it, this is what I'm doing, and it's maxing out, you see that? It's bouncing, so as we back away, we have to back away a little bit, and you can see that it is on 0. But I'll just show you that. So this is just your amethyst, I'll place it on here, we'll take a step back and I'll zoom in so you can see the needle. So you can see how it's maxed out and it's gone past 100%. Now the rose quartz is exactly the same. So I'll chuck that on there, but just to show you, okay? Okay, it's on there, we'll back up, zoom in on it. As you can see, the needle is past that 100%, okay? So now what we're gonna do, now it gets interesting because now you can see the differences with certain crystals. So this is just a nice piece of quartz that I have. So we're gonna place that directly on there, step back. Now you start to get into the measurements where we can actually see the differences. So what does that say? So it's around 80, all right, so bang on 80.
All over the world, peoples of ancient history seemed to be aware that crystals hold a special sort of power, not only for electrical uses, but also for status, show of wealth, magic, and spirituality. And no, I don't mean the kind of magic from fantasy stories. I mean the real-life practice of shifting energy in order to create a positive outcome. Some call this metaphysics, others call it the law of attraction. It goes by many names. Albert Einstein once said, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way." This harnessing and shifting of energy was evident in the historical use of crystals. Let's take a look.
Crystals have been used throughout all of history as a source of healing power. Ancient cultures all over the world used healing crystals and stones to align, clear, and transform their energy, spirit, and physical health. The metaphysical powers of crystals were no mystery to most ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, Mayans, and Sumerians, who regularly adorned their bodies, jewelry, and buildings with these sacred stones. The first historical references to the use of crystals come from the ancient Sumerians, who included crystals in magic formulas. The ancient Egyptians used lapis lazuli, turquoise, carnelian, emerald, and clear quartz in their jewelry. They also carved grave amulets of the same gems. The ancient Egyptians used stones primarily for protection and health. Chrysolite, later translated as both topaz and peridot, was used to combat severe nightmares and purge evil spirits. The ancient Egyptians also used crystals for cosmetic purposes. The galena, which is lead ore, was ground to a powder and used as the eyeshadow known as kohl. Malachite was used in a similar manner. Green stones in general were used to signify the heart of the deceased and were included in burials. Green stones were used in a similar way at a later period by the cultures residing in ancient Mexico. The ancient Greeks attributed a number of properties to crystals, and many names we use today are of Greek origin. The word crystal comes from the Greek word for ice, as it was believed that clear quartz was water that had frozen so deeply that it would always remain solid. The word amethyst means not drunken and was worn as an amulet to prevent both drunkenness and hangovers. Hematite comes from the word for blood because of the red coloration produced when it oxidizes. Hematite is an iron ore, and the ancient Greeks associated iron with Ares, the god of war. Greek soldiers would rub hematite over their bodies before battle, purportedly to make themselves invulnerable. Greek sailors also wore a variety of amulets to keep them safe at sea. The magical properties of crystals were used even in China. Jade was highly valued in ancient China, and some Chinese written characters represent jade beads.
Another interesting example of a crystal, which may have had both a practical as well as a sacred function, was quartz, used in ancient spears. Recently, a remarkable set of crystal weapons found inside the massive megalithic tombs of southwestern Spain by archaeologists that include crystal arrowheads, an exquisite dagger blade, and cores used for creating the artifacts, all dating back to at least the 3rd millennium BC. Numerous ivory objects were also discovered buried with bodies, and red pigment made from cinnabar was sprayed over the body and artifacts. Most, if not all, were found, I believe, in the fetal position. The exact location where they were found was excavated between 2007 and 2010, extending for over 44 meters in total, that's about 144 feet, and was constructed out of large slabs of slate. And at least 25 individuals were interred within the structure, along with an extraordinary set of grave goods, most notable of which is an unspecified number of shrouds or clothes decorated with tens of thousands of amber beads. Additionally, a large number of beautiful crystal arrowheads were found together, which may be suggestive of a ritual, like an offering at an altar.
Now, of course, there are some people out there who may have a religious aversion to crystals. Some Christians, for example, believe that crystals are evil. They believe that when you have a crystal in your home or hold it in your hand, you're messing with some sort of demonic spirit or you're worshiping an idol. To that I say, I'm religious, I believe in Jesus Christ, and if a simple crystal holds evil spirits, you'd better get off your computer and throw away your smartphone right now. They have crystals in them. No, obviously, crystals in and of themselves are not evil. An object is not evil unless we intend to use it for an evil purpose. The ways that most people use crystals have absolutely nothing to do with demons, contacting spirits, cursing people, or anything even close. Crystals are used for the positive energy they emit. And when we are around that positive energy, it helps us realign mentally, emotionally, and yes, even spiritually. Don't believe me? How about we look at the crystals that were used in the Bible? That's right, there are sacred spiritual crystals mentioned in the Bible. Let's take a look.
Second was the ephod, a richly embroidered vest or apron with 2 onyx engraved gemstones on the shoulders, on which were engraved the names of the tribes of Israel. Third was the breastplate, which had 12 different stones in gold settings fastened to the breastplate, each engraved with one of the names of the tribes of Israel. The breastplate was folded in half to create a pocket, where the urim and thummim was stored. The fabric for both the ephod and the breastplate were woven from golden thread. Each of the pieces of clothing, including their materials and colors, pointed to Jesus the Messiah, the great high priest. Perhaps the most significant and expensive part of the high priest's clothing was the ephod and the breastplate. According to the Bible, the stones on the two shoulders, engraved with the 12 tribes of Israel, were to represent that the high priest was to symbolically bear or carry Israel upon his shoulders at all times. The 12 stones on the breastplate, likewise, represented that he was to carry Israel against his heart.
So you see, it doesn't matter what religion you are when it comes to using crystals. They can be used by anyone. They are simply a natural source of positive energy from the earth. One common way people use crystals is to align the chakras, which are the 7 energy centers of the body. Here is a chart showing which crystals go with each energy center. As we know, the color of something can also have a psychological effect on us, and that ties in very well with one way crystals can help us emotionally. Here's a chart of different colors and how they make us feel psychologically. Let's learn some other ways crystals can be used in everyday life.
The best probable way to use crystals would be to work with the chakras. Study the chakras a little bit and then choose your stones. With each chakra, there's a color associated with the chakra, okay? So each color vibrates at a different frequency. So you would find a gemstone that is the color of the chakra that you feel like you're having a problem with, whether you're having a blockage with energy or you're having a problem with your throat as far as speaking your truth. That color would be blue, so you would find a blue stone and you would meditate on it. You could just place it there for 30 minutes and just with your mind say, okay, well, this stone is going to help facilitate the clearing of any blockage that I may have in that area. And you would place them on your 7 chakras with the appropriate colors. So the vibration of the color will match the vibration of the chakra that you're trying to aid. A lot of people will make a elixir, and they will take just plain water that's been sitting in the sunshine. You would let your stone marinate in the water.
Please keep in mind, before you ever make crystal water, be sure to use safe crystals only. Many crystals contain lead, mercury, and other poisons that would be very dangerous if they were leached into drinking water. Or they could fall apart in the water like selenite does when wet, and they could be dangerous to swallow. So please stick to making crystal water with safe, clean crystals such as clear quartz, amethyst, citrine, or rose quartz. Always research the crystals before making crystal water with them. Okay, back to how to make crystal water.
You would let your stone marinate in the water for maybe 24 hours, preferably during a full moon, and let the water absorb some of the essence from the gemstone. And then maybe once or twice a day, you would put a couple of drops on your tongue. A lot of people will use them really for medicinal purposes with different gemstones, and you can get more serious about it and add different herbs and flower essence and bring about different vibrations and different feelings that you'll project outwardly by drinking them.
Using crystals has taught me so much about energy, vibration, and how to shift into a more positive mindset and lifestyle. I'm so grateful to have found them, and I've come to love collecting them too. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to push the like button so I know you liked it, and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a single new video. If you made it this far, be sure to comment the secret word of the day, which is rose quartz. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye!